All right, guys, so video 2, we're going to get into this one special case, and then we're going to solve some inequalities, all right? So this one special case, first we're going to look at if this is true. So we're going to look at a bunch of inequalities and decide, is it true? So 1 is less than 4, right? So that's true. Now, what happens if we add 2 to each side? Will the inequality still be true? So if I do 1, okay, and 1 is still less than 4, right? Because it's to the 4 is to the right on the number line. So if I add 2 to both sides, now I'm asking you, is 3 less than 6? Is that inequality still true? Yes, 3 is less than 6. So 3 is to the left of 6 on the number line, so that's true. All right, what happens if we subtract something on both sides? So let's subtract 6 on both sides and see if this inequality will still be true. So 1 minus 6 is negative 5, and 4 minus 6 is negative 2. So is this still true? Well, negative 5 is over here, and negative 2 is there. So this one is still true. Negative 5 is less than negative 2 on the number line because it's further to the left. All right, what happens if we multiply? So now we're going to multiply both sides by 3. So 1 times 3 is 3, and 4 times 3 is 12. Is this inequality still true? Of course, 3 is less than 12. It's to the left of the 12 on the number line, so we're still true. All right, what happens when we divide? So if I divide both sides by 2, 1 divided by 2 is 1/2. And 4 divided by 2 is 2. And is 1/2 less than 2? Sure, 1/2 1/2 is right here on the number line. 2 is right here. 1/2 is to the left, so it's true. All right. What happens when we... division is the inverse of multiplication. So like dividing by 2 is the same as multiplying by 1/2, and that's why they're the same, right? So now what happens if we multiply by a -1? Will the inequality still be true? So 1 times a -3, or I'm sorry, 1 times a -1 is -1, and 4 times -1 is -4. So here's where the -1 is now, and here's where the -4 is now. Because when we multiply by a negative, it flips it. It's like a mirror image on the negative side. So -1 is not on the left of the number of -4 on the number line. So this is no longer true. We divided by a negative, and now it's not true anymore because it's a reflection of on the number line when you multiply by a negative. So we have to flip the sign. We're going to switch this inequality from a less than to a greater than, and then it's a true statement. -1 is greater than -4. This is the only special case, guys. So whenever we multiply both sides by an inequality by a negative, we must switch the inequality symbol in the middle. So this one, I'm going to multiply both sides by a -4 to solve it, which means I flip my greater than symbol to a less than symbol. Okay. This one, I got to multiply both sides by a -2. That means I'm going to flip my symbol in the middle to greater than or equal to 6. Flip whenever you multiply by a negative. What about if we divide by a negative? All right, so 1 still less than 4, but if I divide by a -2 on both sides, -1/2, is that less than -2? Well, let's see. -1/2 is right there, and -2 is right there. So -1/2 is not less than. Dividing by a negative is the same thing. It's a reflection on the number line first, and then we're dividing it by 2. So like that 1, we divide by 2. The 4, we divide by 2. So it's a reflection, and then it's a division. And it's not true. So just like the last one with multiplying, we have to switch the sign to greater than. -1/2 is greater than the -2. All right, so for this one, I would divide both sides by a -3. That means I flip to x is greater than +5, right? Because -15 divided by a -3 is +5. All right, the problem in the middle, I would divide both sides by 4. Do I flip my sign when I divided by a positive number? No, it's only when we divide by a negative that it gets flipped on the negative side of the number line. So nope, this is, don't switch. That middle one just stays the same. We're dividing by 4. Let me move my face. There you go. We're going to divide both sides by -5 on this last one. So yes, we have to flip again. N is less than -6. All right, so same steps that we did for equations, we're going to use for inequalities. So first, draw a line down the middle. Second, distribute. Yep, I can do -4 times 3n, which is -12n. -4 times 8 is -32. And then I just copied down the rest because I distributed. Now I'm going to combine like terms on the same side. So this -32 and a -8, if I combine those together, -32 minus 8 is a -40. So this side is -12n minus 40. And there's nothing to combine on the right side, so I'm just copying it down until I get to my next step, which is get variables on the same side. So you can either add or subtract. I can add 12n or I can add 5n. I'm going to add 12n to both sides. Then I won't have a negative and I won't have to switch in the end, right? So I'm going to be left with -40 on the left side and -12 plus 7n, because -5 plus 12 is 7n. Then I'm going to add 12 on both sides. So this side will be -28, and that is less than 7n. And then I'm dividing both sides by 7. And am I dividing by a negative? Do I flip my sign here? Nope. I'm not going to the way I solved it, because I made my n's positive. If you have your n's over here because you added 5n, then you will be flipping your sign, because you're going to end up with your n on this side and your n needs to be the greater side. So you will flip if you added 5 on n on both sides, which is completely fine. But the way I solved it, I don't need to. So -4, -28 divided by 7 is a -4, which is less than n. So let's graph this thing. I'm going to have an open circle because it's not equal to -4. It's shielding out the -4. It's not included as a solution. And I need all the numbers that are greater than. See how the n is being eaten by the alligator mouth? The n is the bigger side. Doesn't matter which side it's on. It matters if it's the greater side or the smaller side. That determines the direction of our arrow. So for this one, we're going to the right. All right, guys, that is solving multi-step inequalities. And that's as hard as this will get. We'll do some word problems eventually, but this is solving a multi-step inequality and graphing it and remembering that one exception, which is when we have to flip, when we multiply or divide by a negative. Try some practice activities. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Hope this helped.